Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Miami Minutes, the podcast where we are not scared of you at all. At all. Goodbye. End of the podcast.
That's it. It's over.
Yeah. I'm one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I am your other host, John Parker. And I was gonna come up with something on the fly if I was hosting about we have no competition at all. But, we're on the same track here. It's the greatest thing in history.
Yeah, like the opening. This is probably one of the best minutes in the film, quite frankly. And it's only really like the first 20 seconds of it. Like, I actually took a note. The last 25 seconds of this minute are just people walking towards each other.
Yes.
25 seconds of silent walking.
Oh, but there's intent. There's intent, Niall.
The thing is, we say that has been a silly thing. If that had been Sergio Leone doing that with, like, Clint Eastwood, people would be calling it genius. But, like, no, if it was Miami Connection, everyone was like, well, it's like dead air in the middle, like, a quarter of a minute of dead air in the center of your film. But
it's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy from the arty crowd.
Yeah. But I can't imagine anyone had anything but good things to say about the opening of this minute, which is, of course, minute 17, which begins with a bust-up getting busted up, and it ends a minute later with some standing and walking, like Rory Calhoun himself has just manifested mid-film.
YK Kim says on the commentary track it's an homage to Rory Calhoun.
Oh, good.
No.
It's like every time I'm back home, and my dad just spends his days, he's a retired man, spends his days watching the copious amount of ancient westerns that are put on multiple TV channels every day. And every time it's a Roy Calhoun one, I tell him the Simpsons joke. And every time he doesn't remember that I've told him before. And I'm certain it's not going to... My dad's got one of those things, though, where, like, sometimes you can tell he's really engaged in the conversation, and other times you can tell he's just not taking it in at all. And it's not...
At all!
At all! Goodbye. But it's just more that you can tell he just like it's like he makes a conscious decision. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to pay attention to what you're saying to me right now. And then you can tell me the same exact thing an hour from now, and I'll be like, oh wow, that was interesting.
Rather than it being like some kind of ADHD sort of thing, it's just his brain is just not. Yeah,
I think it's just a thing. Where he just chooses. I think it might be particularly just with me as well. Like he just chooses not to listen to me sometimes.
It's deliberate. I don't want to listen to anything you have to say.
I mean, people not listening to each other. There is indeed one of the things I really love about this exchange of dialogue is that it feels like it's been written like from different angles coming at this confrontation. And none of the actors realize why they're saying the thing back to what they're saying. Like, it all feels, it's what shoddy would be a term some would use for it.
Yeah, it feels like they're not in the same shot. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was like filmed separately and then they've put the footage together.
Well, because there is that wide shot where it's very, very blatantly ADR'd, which is its own thing, because I've got a note on that in general. But it feels like, they were like, oh, there was a completely different confrontation here, and then they did 17 improvised takes, and then they just cobbled together the audio from that. And they're like, oh, that line was good, put that there, because let's start at the beginning, shall we? Because we have John looking up and hearing the great line, "That guy is not for you."
I had a question about that line. Do you think any guy would be deemed worthy? I think not. I don't even believe he'd allow like one of the gang to be with her.
Unless he is trying to set her up with Yoshito. Because he knows Yoshito, maybe he's like Yoshito, the bisexual biker leader. He's notorious across Orlando for this, and so he might be like, I think Yoshito's interested in me, but if I do want in a Game of Thrones-esque fashion, I want the combination of our houses to come together, because he moves a lot of coke down in Miami.
Well, this is very Shakespearean, so that makes sense as well.
Yeah, but he's also like, but I know that he's interested in me, because who wouldn't be? And plus, we've been talking the last couple of minutes about Yoshito seems to be like very more interested in Jeff than Jeff seems in him.
Oh, and that seems like a good plan as well, actually, because it like marrying into the family means they're going to see each other a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's what Yoshito's just like, all right, I just need so I'll marry his sister. but then I'll just start working my magic on Jeff more. And so
Exactly, because society says they can't be together, these two.
Yeah.
So this is the way in.
It truly is very Shakespearean. Like, if this was just straight up, like, I'm looking at this in terms of like a potential subtext. But if this was just the text of like, yes, the head of this gang wants his sister to marry the head of this gang, but the leader of that gang is in love with the guy. That would be very Shakespearean, actually. Because maybe YK Kim was working on a deeper level than we previously anticipated.
I think so. We've cracked it.
Yeah. But so that's my theory would be, because it's a very odd phrase if it doesn't mean like I know something about this guy. Like, it's like, this guy is not for you. It's either I know he's trouble or I have plans for you. And that guy does not come into the plan. So he is you're star-crossed lovers, but you're doomed to never be together because of my family's will.
Oh, I like this. See, because initially I was just thinking, oh, he wouldn't approve of anybody. And then you mentioned Yoshito, and I thought, well, maybe Yoshito. And now it's grown.
Oh, no, I think he would definitely, him and Yoshito joining forces, and then if he hooks him up with his sister, it's like, perfect. There you go. You see the circles you can do with computers? I mean, what couldn't you do with that in the drug trade as well? Like,
yeah, and the bedroom.
Yeah. He just like seduces Yoshito. You see the door close, and then just hear the.
Oh yeah, that gets me going.
Yeah, she can do what she can do with her fingers on a keyboard. What else is she doing with those fingers? Is the question.
What those fingers do, baby.
The combination of that and then Yoshito being able to like break all those boards in two while making a flame shoot out of them. It's like, Jesus. Now I'm kind of in favor of the pairing, just to see the sex scene that would result in it.
But if he's not really interested in her, he's not going to pull out all the stops.
That's true. I just got mildly distracted thinking of like if they ever made an 8-bit or a 68-bit like Miami Connection computer game spin-off. That would be one of like the bad endings. Would be like to cut to like a digital portrait of like with like one movement of Yoshito with Jane in the bed with him, and he's like he's motioning about slamming, like breaking the boards or something.
Yeah.
And she's like massaging his shoulders with like clacking her fingers or something, and it's like, this is the unhappy ending of the Miami Connection game. This is when you run out of your 3 lives, of course.
I really hope someone's made like a fan game of it. Please say it exists. We're going to have to look it up.
It would be perfect for that kind of thing, actually. It really would.
You could do it like Streets of Rage.
Yeah. If not, I think we should look into it. See, can we make that game?
Imagine it. You could pick who you play as. You know, I'd be Mark all the time, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you would. I think everyone would want to play Mark. Would Jane be a playable character? Because, you always had, like, you had Blaze in Streets of Rage.
Yeah, I think you could find a way to turn her into a fighting character without her doing martial arts. You could come up with something. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like she has a weapon or something.
I kind of want to go out now and plan, like, all the different stages. It's like, well, stage 1, of course, would be... No, would stage 1 be a Dragon Sound concert, or would you want to leave that towards the end? Or maybe it would begin with a Dragon Sound concert, like getting busted into by Yoshito's crew, and then you jump off the stage and go after them, and that's the beginning of the game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go out to the streets, and there's like... That's one of the things that's going to take a lot more thought instead of just off the cuff than like, you break open a bin and it's got like a towel inside that you can use that replenishes your health or something, or...
Oh, and to level up, you can pick up textbooks.
Yeah.
Because as the gang run over here, sprinting into action, they throw their textbooks to the ground because, we don't need these right now. And the thing that really got to me was, hang on, these things aren't cheap. That's how serious this is.
Of course. So again, I also got distracted by the idea of like, I'm just imagining the game character of like, just not Mark because he would be in his classic uniform, but you have to provide a variety of outfits. So one of them would at least have to have the unbuttoned jeans and this towel slung over the shoulder, and just like walking down the street beating up crooks, but like shirtless with just that. And the special move is hitting them with the towel and stuff.
I should have dressed as that for Halloween.
It is always next year, John.
Well, why are you walking around with no top on and your jeans undone? It's a costume, okay?
Do you think we could do that? Could we like if we could find a bunch of other people? Do you think we could put together Dragon Sound as a costume?
I mean, I'd be happy to try.
I mean, I think We've got a whole year, John. I think the campaign starts now.
I feel like we'd need someone from Korea in our crew, though, to take the lead.
Throughout 2023, I'm going to befriend a Korean with the nefarious purpose of just basically getting them to be YK Kim.
Well, now you've announced it on air. Your plan's foiled.
Oh, God. Edit that part. Edit that.
Oh, yeah, I totally will. Mm-hmm. Wink. Oh, no, I said that out loud.
I said the quiet part loud and the loud part quiet.
But, they, as we said, they run over, throw the books to the ground, and confront the evil gang. Mm-hmm. And in the commentary track for real this time, I discovered that a lot of these gang members, of course, they're students of Kim, but they've been his students since they were about 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why he was like so proud to have them like in the movie. Like, oh my God, look how you've grown, kind of thing. You know?
It really does make it seem like it's like a cult, though. It's like, yes, I've raised these children. This is the YK army, I guess.
They're Orpans.
Oh, yeah, they are all Orpans. Oh, all those extras. They mentioned that in the comedy. They're all Orpans. That would be insane.
I would love that. Well, that sounds awful. I would love that. But you know what I mean.
Parents are dead.
It would be quite a thing, like saying, yes, this is based on reality, this story.
See, that guy in the background, that's the real John. That guy in the other background, that's the real Jack or whoever.
So Mark comes out with something here. I can't quite make out what he's saying, and all the versions I have don't have subtitles of this. I've got like 3 versions of this movie with no subs.
It's like they hired subtitle firms each time, and they all saw this scene and just went, nope.
Maybe
away.
Because I'm a bit lost. And, I'm not making fun of his accent or anything. But I don't know what he's saying. He says, what happened? Something? What's he coming out
I just heard there's some misunderstanding. Or is that the next line?
That's a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, like, what happened? And then there's like, blah, 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 blah.
Let's see if I can hear it. Won't be able to hear me listening to it on air, but let's see. Oh, yeah. He just like, what happened, sir? Or something like that. I think it is just what happened, sir. He's just...
Oh, the way he's saying happened.
He's just, yeah. Because one thing, this is our grand introduction to YK Kim's incredibly strong accent. It's one of the things
which
that
isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it worked for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, the thing is, it's part of this film's charm. It's like the fact the guy's got such a heavy accent. Considering that this entire sequence seems to be ADR'd, it's kind of like, unless it was just a budgetary thing, if it was vanity, whatever happened with YK Kim, where you think someone would have said, like, should we get someone to dub him? Could we not just redub the entire performance?
Oh, if this was like a Hollywood movie, first thing they would do is redub it, and it would lose something.
Yeah.
Well, actually, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, his first movie. They did that.
Yeah.
And the one with the American guy doing the voice, it's so bland.
Oh yeah. The Hercules in New York. But even I think, like, was it in Flash Gordon? Like, Sam Jones is entirely dubbed in that movie.
It's crazy when you realize that.
Yeah. I think there's rumors of it, because I know Carey Mulligan apparently really hates The Great Gatsby. She's in that. And she's like, I'm not happy at all with my performance. And the rumor is that she redubbed her entire performance because she wasn't happy with it. And it's like, that's it. I would imagine, like, the director had been like, no, like, it's my movie. Like, I was happy with the take and we move on. But apparently the rumor is that she redubbed the entire thing because he wasn't.
I'm always torn on that. I'm never sure what's right, because at the end of the day, you're never going to be happy with what you've done. You're an artist. That's kind of the curse of the artist, isn't it? But at the same time, I would never want somebody to feel uncomfortable. Like, imagine the stress, knowing, people are watching me, and in your head, you're like, but I've fucked it up so that it would really get to you, that.
So I'm always fascinated by ADR in films, because we had, obviously, during our Batman season of 89, we had to mention all of friggin' Eckhart seems to be dubbed. and in Batman and Robin, famously, like, the rumor is 70% of Batman and Robin is ADR.
I'd believe it.
Yeah, and George Clooney himself came out and said, like, that was part of the most soul-sucking part of the whole thing. was the fact that he had to go in and like redub everything, and he just hated. He already hated making it, and then come back and be like, "Yeah, I had to do it again." So
well, I'm going to be honest. ADR should only be used really for like touch-ups.
Yeah.
Where there's no other alternative, because it's always going to sap something out of the scene.
Yeah, it's always an instant, like again, like in Batman and Robin, that's Mr. Freeze doing like, "We went to here forever, I got them," and like we talked about that scene. It's like, that doesn't even match slightly to what his lips are doing.
No, not at all, not at all.
And that was the most infamous one of ADR, and I've never got a confirmation either way of why it was done and who did it. But you know the film The Godfather.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
And it's acclaimed masterpiece, and everyone's just like, it's perfect film. And then there's a really blatant, like, insane thing. And Francis Ford Coppola has never come out and been like, this is what happened there. Where Michael Corleone is meeting with Mo Green, and he's just doing it's Alex Rocco, it's the voice of Roger Myers in The Simpsons, and he kind of talks like this, and you think you can muscle on my turf and get blah, 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 blah. And he's just saying that in full view. You see his lips not matching at all. And then a completely different voice comes in and goes, "I talk to Barzini." And it sounds exactly like James Earl Jones. And it's so distracting. Like,
oh, I need to see this again. I have literally, listeners, only seen that movie once.
It's a great film. So
I actually did quite enjoy it. I wasn't expecting to, but I did. But I've just never, I've seen it now. It's not one a rewatch for me.
No, I think there's one I would revisit many times, but mostly to baffle at that scene of like.
Well, that's why I'm gonna have to now. Yeah,
just watching a 3-hour movie just to get to that one bit. It's like,
here it comes.
It's like they clipped it out on YouTube, so you can just watch it that way. No.
It's not the same. It loses context that way.
But no, I never found out because it's like, I guess Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas were tight, but this is way before Star Wars. So did George Lucas like help out on The Godfather, and they got James Earl Jones to do that one line, even though his voice doesn't suit or match the other guy? And then from that, he was like, "Oh yeah, I think like 5 years later, I remember that guy and put him in my sci-fi movie." It's insane.
No, it could be possible. Might have been done. Yeah.
But I guess, well, as I say, I would have thought that would have been out there, but I've Googled it many times, and some people are just like, "Yeah, it's James Earl Jones," but they have no citation. It's just because it sounds like him. And you're like, but no one said officially that it is. So
it'll go to their graves.
Yeah. If only they got James Earl Jones to dub. If only they got YK Kim to dub in him coming in just barking I talked to Barzini. Goodbye.
That would be great.
Mo Green just leaves the scene after that.
Although, speaking of Kim, here, I really like this touch, actually, where Mark, he squares up to Jeff. But I got the vibe it wasn't like in an aggressive way, like let's rumble. It was more protective, like separate everybody, stay back, keep it cool.
Well, I did note that
I'll fight if you want, but I don't want to.
I did note, which I originally thought he was doing it to one of the rival gang, but it's Jack. It's the other plain white guy in Dragon's the guy I forgot all those weeks ago. He kind of grabs him and throws him back, which I thought that's a very aggressive move considering they're all best friends or pans. But I think it is a kind of protective, like, because Jack's squaring up by himself as if he's going to take on the whole gang.
Yeah.
And Mark, I think, is like, I guess that he is like the daddy of the zaddy of the dojo. So he's just like it's like a father pulling his kid out of the way, but like get back in line. I'll take care of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite nice in a way.
Yeah, I don't sense any resentment between them. I feel it is just like Mark's just like, I will handle this. Like you're hot-headed, you're impetuous, you'll get yourself killed, but I will diffuse this situation through a bizarre sequence of dialogue.
Well, I think he does quite well because he really does come across, and I imagine this is because it's true about him in real life. He comes across as someone who's kind and fair, but you don't fuck with him.
Yes.
Like, he will take you down as a last resort. It's a bit like, a warrior monk kind of character in movies.
The Mr. Miyagi. thing.
The
Of like,
Miyagi,
well,
yeah, exactly.
it's like, never wants to have to do it, but he will knock the crap out of you because he can, you know?
Yeah. He'll never choose the violence,
Yeah.
but the violence comes to him sometimes.
I think he is, to be fair, very much like trying to talk this down instantly, because, you know, he squares up to Jeff, and presumably people in the back are going like, wow, it's Dragon Sound. Like,
I love these guys.
the whole band just showed up at the same time.
Jeff holds his boys back, though. I thought that was a bit surprising. You'd imagine Jeff would be like, nah, fuck it, let's rumble.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think as he just wants to, you know, savor his bait. Just like, I want to see what's happening here.
There's a time and a place. He's got to size him up. Plus, I think he can sense something, especially in Mark, like, ooh, this guy he's pretty tough, actually. I don't know.
I guess that maybe, too, the fact that he is, like, he's taking control of his group, like Mark has. And then, like, he is facing, because there's multiple guys in Jeff's crew who have, like, switchblades out now.
Yeah.
And Mark doesn't seem fazed by any of that. He's just like, well, you know, that's what? There's a minor obstacle on my path, I guess. You know?
He can take them out with ease. But I love how that escalated so quickly to like, whoa, put the knives away. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, there are, like, you know, everything with Jeff seems to be constant escalation of nothing to 100 in 0.5, you know?
Yeah, but there's falling out with people and having a fight, which is bad enough. But pulling knives? Jesus, cool it.
Although one actual reason why Jeff might not want to rumble right now is because Jane is right there. She's amidst everything. And if nothing else, he is protective of his sister. So it could be true. Like, if, you know, later on, John does have the line of, if Jane wasn't there, I would have kicked his ass, which is like yeah, right, buddy.
As if.
Yeah. But Jeff's he might legitimately be like, if she wasn't here, yeah, I would destroy all these people right now. But there's the off chance she might get hurt if I did that. So...
that's true. Yeah, collateral damage.
Jeff could be like, he's just the reason he's saying that guy is not for you is because like, I've seen his dating profile online, Jane, and like, you know, he loves dogs. You're allergic to dogs. That guy is not for you, you know?
Yeah, he's trying to be nice. He's trying to be kind.
Here's a maybe looking at this is that Jeff is just a guy who's hard of hearing, trying to calm everybody down all the time.
He's not actually like shouting out of aggression.
Yeah, I maintain that earring is a hearing aid. Like I'm pretty. You could reinterpret this whole movie as him just not quite been able to hear people, and then coming off as aggressive because he's shouting all the time.
Well, you say that, but his next line is, "Are these bums your friends?"
That is true, actually. Yeah. Throw that theory right out the window. And also, though, at the same time, it's like, are these bums your friends? Like, you saw them all together playing last night, for Christ's sake, man. You know they're all friends.
I think it's a rhetorical question. It's almost like, admit it to me. Yeah. Also, is that the best insult he can come up with? Bums. Come on. Then we get a great line from Mark, where he's like, there is just some misunderstanding. Yeah. There's a nice pause there, where he's trying to remember his dialogue, I think. His English might not be perfect, but his message is spot on. You know, chill, man. Chill. Like, we can sort this out.
Mm-hmm. I'm just surprised that Jeff got his dialogue, like that line of dialogue out in one piece, because he's like, are these bums your friends?
He can't say the word.
Choking at my own rage.
She'd be like, no, these bums, they are the friends.
But the thing is, though, and this is the most baffling aspect of this, and becomes even more apparent in a couple of seconds' time, ADR would usually be put in to replace dialogue that was, like, damaged or a take that just wasn't very good. So if Mark is, like, struggling to remember his lines, you think you'd want to dub it so it sounds like he's not trying to remember his lines.
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, inexperience of making a movie where they were like, it's fine. This works. It's okay. It's natural.
They got like, you got the ADR booth for like 20 minutes, and they had to do the whole movie in that time. So he's literally just speeding through all the dialogue. It's,
like Krusty.
Yeah. There's clear some misunderstanding. Just runs out the door.
Hey, I'm Mark.
Hey, kids, it's Talking Mark. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done.
Now I want a Talking Mark action figure, I'll be honest. Please make one, YK Kim. Please.
I mean, we've already talked about the tie-in novelizations we could have had, the computer game we didn't get, Talking Mark dolls. We're doing all the work for these people, you know?
I know, they're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah. And
you get Jeff with another. Oh God, he's worse. He's worse, I think. Here he goes. You don't understand. I am her brother. Yeah. When I tell you to leave her alone, leave her alone. And I was thinking as well, like, that's not how life works. She's a grown woman. She's not like 6.
Yeah. That feels like a line from a different take, or someone who didn't understand what the script was setting up. Because him saying there's some kind of misunderstanding, and him saying you don't understand. I think that's supposed to be more. It was probably written as been like, there's been a misunderstanding. No, you don't understand. This is my sister. But he says it like, you don't understand. Like he's pleading with him. You don't understand what's happening.
Because he's a nice guy.
I can't hear you quite right, but
and the delivery, I think it's just bad delivery. But the way he says, "I am her brother," it's almost like, "I am your father." It's an odd emphasis on the "am."
I have to say though too, and again, it's because it's entirely made by YK Kim, and the thing is, I imagine in reality, if a person like Jeff was met with by YK Kim, and then that accent came out, there's no way he wouldn't comment on it. Like,
oh yeah, this jerk, he'd make fun of him or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like the other half comes off quite nice because they never bring up ethnicity or anything like that in terms of being like, these are they're bullies basically. So you think they would pick on anything, but it feels as if they're like, no, don't ever bring that up because
could it be? I know bullies don't use logic, right, and they'll make fun of things anyway. But could it be because they're also martial artists, so they're in that world? Yashito's, kind of part of the crew, sort of, they deal with it.
Oh,
so they don't want to be insulting. But bullies don't think like that. That's the thing.
It could be, though, he does have a thing of like, no, I gotta respect Yashito and his culture and anyone who could potentially be related to that. So it's like, no, it could be, he's like, I'm a complete monster, but I'm not racist.
Yeah, it's like Chucky when he's like, I've got a queer kid.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not a monster. Like, I'm a killer, but I'm not a monster. Yeah, I support my queer kid. That is a very nice message throughout the show. It's like they brought in Glenn and Glenda now, and it's just like the pronouns are always respected and all this. It's like no one ever. There's one mention of someone trying to make fun of it, and then it's just shot down instantly. It's like that's nice. It's nice messaging amongst this demented mass murdering that's going on.
I saw someone complaining about it online, as everybody does, and I was like, "Have you not watched the previous movies? Like, it's in the last one."
Yeah,
well, not the last one, but that's there's been like 2 or 3 since then. But yeah, but it's in Seeds. This is all from there.
Yeah. I think it's just Don Mancini who created the whole thing. He's an openly queer guy, so I think it's just like he will. That's the gay agenda. The Child's Play has an agenda because it's that guy's property and he can do what he wants with it. So,
and it carries over to this.
Yeah. But they were just more subtle with Jeff. We've already established that he's not a monster because he's only trying to protect his sister because their parents died. And if there was an element where he's just like, if the other guys in the gang were going to make fun of Mark because of his ethnicity or his accent or something, and Jeff was just like, later on, maybe not in front of them, but it was just like, hey, cool with that. Like, I hate him because he's endangering my sister or whatever. But like that is like from a respectable culture, and we learned our martial arts from those people originally and stuff. Like, you could make a more nuanced character if they wanted to. I would
like that, and it's kind of in contrast to what you got in like Karate Kid, because in that, of course, Kreese seems very like even though he's doing karate, he seems very disparaging of Japanese culture.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I've taken what I want from you and I've made it better.
Yeah. Well, he's like the ultra-capitalist version of karate. Yeah. Basically, it's like, I'm turning it into a machine. Well, I suppose then Terry Silver's obviously then he's even more so, because he probably just actively turns it into a franchise and stuff.
That is what YK Kim did, though, of course. Which nobody criticizes him for, though.
That'd be something that came out as like, yeah, Terry Silver's actually based on YK Kim. If you took off the ponytail, you'd see the comparisons instantaneously.
Oh, my God. But see, even more reason they need him in Cobra Kai. That could be the twist. He turns up in it, but he's a villain.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, we probably mentioned this before, but like that master who taught Terry Silver and Kreese.
Oh, wait, he's Korean, isn't he?
Yeah, barely saw him.
Yeah.
That should be YK Kim. They should just go cast him, bring him in, and they're like, yeah, perfect. Doesn't have to do that many scenes, just be like, that's who it was the whole time.
Oh, God, I would have loved that.
Yeah,
Mr. Trick.
Absolutely. They had that little moment between the daughter and Kreese, and then she's back now, and Kreese has escaped. Spoilers for Cobra Kai. And I don't know if they've announced season 6 or whatever, but I'm certain that is coming, and that relationship will be explored more. And so you probably will get more flashbacks to, them over in Korea learning all that stuff. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's always a treat every single time.
Oh, we get Mark replying here with something I found a bit startling, because to the leave her alone thing. He goes, "Whatever you say." He's agreeing. Yeah. Now, I know it's just to stop the fight, but I think you're throwing her under the bus, dude.
Well, this continues throughout the rest of the sequence too, where I guess John is concerned about Jane, but Jane is their singer, and Mark doesn't seem to care about her at all. At all. The fact at the end, he's like, goodbye, and they just take off without her. Like, you think he would be like, Jane, are you okay? Or whatever. Like, he should be saying, like, again, this is like, it's my friend, the singer in my band, and I come over, and these guys are, all these muscular, bearded men are all huddling around her. I should be like, Jane, me to you, are you okay? But he doesn't care. He's just like, we can get another one. It's fine.
There's plenty of singers around here.
You know how many singers I've lost to biker gangs? Like, you just go and get another one. It's
like Spinal Tap with drummers.
Yeah. She died when her brother showed up to pick her up at the quad, and and then they got killed in a bizarre kung fu accident.
I actually think you're right, by the way. One line just saying, are you okay, before they leave. Because I understand, to de-escalate, he doesn't want to take her away with them. Yeah. It's going to make her brother worse. Like, okay, I respect, you're a family. You guys can sort this out. But one just quick check-in with her would sort that out, I think.
Unless it's all happening so fast, he doesn't even know that Jane's there. He's just like, well, whatever. Just, I go, John, who are you dating? It's like, oh, it's Jane. Jane! Our Jane!
He dates every singer.
It's like, another one. Damn it, man. Come on.
And when he breaks up, they just get rid of them anyway. It's like, oh, we're going to need a new singer.
Yeah, take another one out of the pile. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had lost a previous singer and she answered an ad and like one of those like little, you tug little pieces of paper off. Yeah. It's just around campus. Just audition for Dragon Sound. Da, 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 da.
I imagine that's probably how they met her, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, it makes sense. It makes total sense, yeah.
They don't seem like they met her like out and about at the clubs or anything.
It seems like they don't know anything about her, really.
No,
because
really.
This is their first meeting of Jeff and just been like, oh, it turns out maybe that's why why Mark is just so like, yeah. It's like, I didn't realize we're getting into this much trouble for the singer. So like, no, we'll get another one. That's fine.
It's Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols all over again.
Yeah. He's like, the easiest way out of this is just to get a new singer. John, don't care if she's the love of your life. You're done. All right.
It would solve a lot of but at the same time, it's leaving a, not having a life.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, like, out of chivalry, it's like, we need to help this woman. Because, okay, she can help herself, obviously, to a certain point. But there's a lot of bullshit going on in her life. I don't know if she can deal with it on her own. Yeah.
I mean, it would seem like after this scenario, they do just leave her there with this biker gang. And God knows how Jeff is treating her the rest of the afternoon. When they meet up back up with her, is she like, you just left me there? What the hell?
Well, that's the thing. I don't imagine he'd ever be physical with her, but he's just going to be berating her for hours now. It's like, oh, Jesus.
I will say the one plus is that you'll be like, well, young lady around like a violent biker gang, but none of them would touch her because Jeff. Yeah. He would be like, it's the one thing he's got going for him is like, don't ever touch my sister. Like, I will destroy you. So. Oh,
I get that vibe. That's why I don't think he would allow any of the gang to date her. Like I asked at the start, Yoshito's separate. I don't think if these guys said, can I date your sister? But fuck no.
Yeah. I don't know, Yoshito would be a political move,
Yeah.
In enlarging the Jeff empire.
The Jeff universe. And Jeff says, just remember what I said if you don't want to get hurt. But following this, we've been quoting it. One of the greatest lines in cinema history. And I know you've been wanting to say it over and over now in the proper style.
Yeah.
Mark's retort.
Yeah. I can't do, though, because I can't do the accent because in the potential that it would offend anyone. But yeah, his You do not scare me at all. At all. Goodbye.
Hand up. And he says it right over Jeff. Jeff tries to speak and he at all. He says it again.
I think that's the best part, is that, like, again, ADR is there to fix dialogue that's been messed up, as if they just re-recorded it and messed it up again.
I like it though. It feels natural, doesn't it? Like in an argument, you're gonna speak over each other.
It's the Ed Wood school of filmmaking of, like, yeah, the giant would have trouble fitting through that door every day, so we'll leave him knocking into the door frame and wobbling the whole set. That's fine.
And it's just fantastic the way now Mark has escalated for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I am not scared of you. That's all. It's like, what? You're trying to be the calm one.
Again, that's what I mean. It feels like a bunch of different takes at different intensities, and then snip the dialogue together, and we're just like, because he was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool, man, that's cool. You don't scare me at all. Like, it really is, and it's the hand coming up, because it's like, it's both saying to his crew, start backing off, but also it could be like, I'll smack you, Jeff.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
It's like, I'm ready. Don't mistake my kind heart for some sort of, me being a wuss or something. Like, I will knock the crap out of you if I need to.
I appreciate that though, because that is the character. He's not a pussy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the toughest guy in the whole damn ththing. But he won't smack you unless he's got to smack you, but he's prepared to smack you.
Yeah. I absolutely love though the fact that it's like, because it all sounds very weirdly forced, and at all, goodbye, let's go. It's a very natural let's go after.
Very casual, like, right, that's that over and done with. Let's all hop in the car as bros.
I just read it because the guy over on the Dragon Sound side, who's from the rival gang, but he's there with like a baseball bat or a plank or something, and it just looks so impractical. So if he tries to hit anybody, like, it's like, you need to be more spread out than this, man. But he looks like he's ready to whack someone. No.
He is. You've got to be prepared for anything, because there's knives, as you said. There's knives, so maybe he's a master of like a bow staff or something.
Yeah.
Always my favorite weapon in the Turtles.
I think he's behind Jack, so it could be the Jack. Like, that would be the ultimate thing. Is like, Mark pulled Jack back for safety, and then he ended up getting hit in the back of the head with a bow staff. It's like, oh, I guess you were safer up front.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, my mistake. We also need a new, what was he, the drummer? Going over to the already existing Dragon Sound audition poster, writing in drummer and singer.
Yeah. Basically just need a whole new band by the end of the movie.
This is Dragon Sound Mach 12 or something.
Mark 12.
Yeah, Mark. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. But it's just like The Cure. It's just like, well, The Cure is kind of just Robert Smith and whoever happens to be around him at any given time. But originally was a band. It's just that now it's become like the Trigger's broom of like, well, you've replaced the bass and you replaced the head enough times. Yeah. Is it really the same bands? It's like, well, it was just Mark. Mark is Dragon Sound, so.
I always have trouble with that when I go and see old bands, especially punk bands do this, like, there might be, say, 2 of the original band there, and there'll be 5 members, because over the years, people have dropped that. It's like, I'm getting old, I don't want to do this. So there'll be like 1 or 2 left. So I have to make a decision, like, which members are left? And then figure out, like, does that still count in my eyes?
Yeah.
Like the Damned, their original lineup I saw the other day, actually, first time, in like forever.
Oh, nice.
But the current main lineup is only 2 of them. But it's the main 2.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, they're the singer and the songwriter. So that works. But then I saw a punk band called the Lerczak, where it's like, the only original player is now the bass player, but he's singing as well. It's like, is it really the same band?
I mean, like, trying to, like, if Johnny Marr and Mike Joyce and Andy Rourke got together, it's like, we're just going to tour as the Smiths. And everyone will be like, I guess it is. But, like, it's not really. No,
it's tough when you've got an, rightly or wrongly in his case, when you have an iconic singer.
Yeah.
When the singer stands above, in the public consciousness. Like Queen. I know they keep touring as Queen, but it's not Queen.
I think they're missing 2 members. Like, Freddie's gone, and also John Deacon, who, like, even in the Weird Al biopic, they were like, I'm John Deacon. Like, who?
That
I'm the bass player from Queen. It's like, oh.
Like, oh, yeah, there's another one.
But like I remember seeing like years ago a poster saying the Doors were touring, and it was like the keyboard player, and maybe it was the rest of the entire band. But it's kind of like, if it's not Jim Morrison, is it the Doors? Not really.
Why don't you just say on the like such and such plays the Doors?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, okay, yeah, cool.
But they could be like, again, that guy, the keyboard player, could be like, the Doors is my band. Like I hired him. Like I formed the band, and then I got Jim Morrison in. Like, it's my freaking group.
That's why it's tough, though, isn't it? Like, I don't know. It really does depend. Some bands have replaced their singer, and it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the friggin' AC/DC did it twice. Like they've gone fine,
and somehow that worked.
The diminishing returns each time, but they kept going.
Yeah, it sometimes works.
It would be amazing if it turned out like Dragon Sand was actually like John's band or something, and Mark is just apparently he can do this weird thing where he like grabs his nose grabs your nose with his toes. So we gotta have that on stage.
Oh, I love your slip up there. I want to see him do it to his own nose.
Yeah, he grabs his nose with your toes.
With Yashitos.
Hey! Maybe that's why he's called Yashito. It's supposed to be some sort of subtextual comment. I'm gonna twist his nose like the end of Karate Kid 2.
Whoa! Although you mentioned John a minute ago, and he comes out with that bit you mentioned earlier, saying how if Jane wasn't there, he'd have kicked Jeff's ass. And I'm in the middle on this, right? Because as we joked, like, he's not the kind of guy to do that. Look at him. He's a little dweeb. But at the same time, we know, having seen the whole movie, this guy can fucking go.
Yeah.
He might not look it, but he can serve it. Especially if you put a blade in his hands. Holy shit.
I think I can imagine he would definitely attempt to, and the thing, had it been a clean fight between Jeff and John, Jeff would have destroyed him. I'm gonna say that now. I think Jeff and Mark, that's a fair fight. Jeff and I don't know all the rest of one-on-one Dragon Sound. I guess we'll get looking at Jeff fighting people in detail towards like his end of the movie at least. But like I do get the vibe like it's very much like it's like in the Turtles, the first Turtles movie when Shredder finally, the Turtles are going through the Foot Clan, no problem, and then Shredder shows up and he knocks the crap out of all of them except for Splinter. Splinter can beat him. It's like I get that vibe with Jeff. Like he's like, he could take on all of Dragon Sound except Mark. Mark would be the one who would actually be able to take him on and stuff.
Mark can take on anyone.
So John might well have got one good kick in, maybe in the direction of the ass. But then he went like, your jaws ended up inserted into your ass.
I don't know. I think the difference as well is Jeff would be fighting out of anger. He's fire, because he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Whereas John, he'd be too soft at this point of the movie, I think, in his morals and things. Obviously, at the end of the movie, things have escalated to such a point that he is fighting out of anger.
Yeah.
And, to screw over the whole Jedi philosophy, it does work.
I think maybe that's why when Mark, he instantly gauges Jeff when he looks at him. It's like, I see this man as the flip of me.
Yeah.
Like, and says, this is what I could become, maybe by the film's end. And a shockingly dark turn that then they tacked on an epilogue to make it a little bit more lighthearted.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, so those guys leave Jane to all this, and let's go off cruising. Maybe in both interpretations of that term. Then we cut to a nightclub, the very same nightclub that we've been in previously.
Yeah, and there's some shady characters popping up to meet the owner. We get a nice little promo for Heineken here too in the background.
I love the guy in the Coke logo in the background there too, because you get that vibe of like, if you ever go on TV as like an extra, or just if you're on like a panel show or a game show or something like that, and they always stress to you like, you show up and whatever, don't wear anything with any logos because that's gonna be a pain. And nothing. They have like specific stripes and stuff you can't wear because the camera won't pick it up properly and things like that. But I imagine like, show up whatever you want, nothing with any logos on it. And this guy was like, sorry, it's laundry day. All I literally have is a logo to wear.
Unless it was a deliberate, you can't fucking tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll wear what I want to wear.
He recently quit the dojo. So Like, that's right, Master Kim. What are you going to do about it, huh?
His hair is rather shocking as well. Is it like little dreads? What's going on?
I just assumed that was sort of like...
Or is it his headband? Oh, it's his headband.
It's
his
a headband, yeah.
I was really confused by that.
Well, we do know that the random thin bit of material across your forehead is the height of fashion in in this town, in this year, in this part of the country.
This guy started it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did that out of interest, though, because I always like to bring, like we do with That Minute, I like to bring something slightly educational to each episode. And so I looked into, because Coca-Cola is so synonymous in cinema now, like, it's because it's such a part of normal landscapes the world over. Having Coke logos in the background is always just like, well, that's just what life is like. You just have Coke.
I've seen people complain and go, oh, look at the product placement. I'm like, okay, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't care. It looks real. I see Coke stuff all over the fucking place.
Yeah. I think even like Ridley Scott made a point of it in Blade Runner, having a giant Coke logo, because he's like, in the future, that company will still be there, and it'll still be the same logo, because I've had the same logo since it was founded in 1886. And people, everyone sort of knows the general gist of Coca-Cola is just like, it was created by a guy called John Pemberton, who was a Confederate colonel who got injured in the war and addicted to morphine. And so he created a nerve tonic. As
That's
you do.
Such an old-fashioned thing. He used to nerve tonic. It sounds dangerous.
Yeah, like a nerve tonic in his back garden. And it was originally called Pemberton's French Wine Coca. And it was made of coca leaves, which of course have cocaine in them. So all that legend of Coca-Cola having cocaine in it, it's 100% true.
Oh, yeah. It was like, didn't he like it to give you a kind of pep?
Yeah.
Like, oomph.
And then after a while, then in the state of Missouri, I believe, in the 1880s, they started bringing in some prohibition laws. And so to rival that, he had a friend of his called Frank Mason Robinson coined the term Coca-Cola, because he thought the alliteration would work better. Everyone knows me as a fan of alliteration. I agree with him. And then
what does cola mean?
I think it might have just been an old-fashioned term for like a soda drink or something, maybe. Like, or maybe he just made up the word cola because he was like, Coca-Cola. There you go. Great.
Maybe that's the thing. I've genuinely never known what the cola bit means. Like, I know what a cola is, but that's because of Coca-Cola.
But yeah, so then this guy, Frank Mason Robinson, he basically did the original logo, which is pretty much the same logo it's always had. And he pitched the term Coca-Cola, and then it became Coca-Cola. But the first movie that Coca-Cola ever appeared in was in 1916 in something called The Mystery of the Leaping Fish, which is you can tell it's very, very, very pre-Hays Code. If anyone knows about film history, the Hays Code is basically the massive censorship laws that kicked in around the 1920s, I think, or thereabouts. And we're just like, you can't do this, you can't do that, up until like the new Hollywood era, the late 60s, early 70s, where they start going, well, we're going to do it. What are you going to do about it? And stuff.
Try and stop us.
Because the actual plotline of The Mystery of the Leaping Fish is Douglas Fairbanks plays a character called Coke Any Day. The scientific detective divides his own time in periods of sleep, eat, dope, and drink. In fact, he's used to overcome every situation with drugs, consuming it to increase his energies or injecting it into his opponents to KO them. To help the police, he discovers a contraband of opium, which he eagerly tastes, transported with leaping fishes, and the blackmail of the mysterious man who wants to marry the fish blower girl. Will Coke be able to free the girl? And apparently this character, Coke Any Day, is just it was like a mockery of Sherlock Holmes, because Sherlock Holmes has his own addiction issues.
Yeah.
Opium being the operative one. But apparently Coke Any Day is like, he has a bandolier of syringes on him that he just injects into himself constantly.
Holy shit. We have to review this.
It's on YouTube. It's like a 30-minute short on YouTube. It was weirdly, because one of those things too, I guess back in the day, Hollywood was very small. So you had this movie, was written by Todd Browning, the guy who made friggin' Freaks, the original Dracula, like the Bela Lugosi Dracula. He did, for Batman fans, London After Midnight, which people might recall is the lost, like old Hollywood horror movie that basically inspired the look of the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like people, it's a bit of Dr. Caligari and it's a bit of Richard III and stuff, but it's like Tim Burton would have known about London After Midnight. And you look at the Penguin, and you look at the Lon Chaney character in that movie. It's like, oh, that's the Penguin. That's 100% who that's based on. D.W. Griffiths also co-wrote it. Who did Birth of a Nation, etc., etc. And then Anita Loos, who was the first female screenwriter in Hollywood. So
Anita Loos.
Anita
that sounds like a drag queen or something.
It sounds like a Bart Simpson prank call or something.
Yeah.
Like an English Bart Simpson's prank call. Anita Loos.
That doesn't sound like a real name. What the hell?
Yeah, but she also did in the same year an adaptation of Macbeth. And then she wrote the novel and the screenplay for the original Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. And I was looking through her IMDb, and there's like hundreds of things there. But one of them was just Another Thin Man, which was, I presume, is a sequel to The Thin Man. But like I admire that so much of just been like, what are we gonna call it? Another Thin Man.
I like that. Yeah. I think that's cool.
It's better than this modern thing of like horror remakes where like we're calling this new Hellraiser, or the new Scream is just called Scream. Like, call it its own thing. Like, and if we just call it another Hellraiser, fine. Like I know that's exactly what it is.
Especially when it wasn't retelling the same story anyway.
Yeah. Particularly when the Hellraiser isn't the title of the original story anyway. Like you could have, but I guess it's not really an adaptation of that story. So it's, I don't think that. I 100% disagree with this. Let's just call it the same thing. Like hated it with Halloween, hated it with Scream, hated it with Hellraiser. Just call it its own thing.
Though, listeners, if you want us to do a special review of this bizarre drug-fueled movie while taking drugs, no, we won't do that bit, but then let us know, because that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Although, actually, I must ask John, because I was trying to think of the most memorable instance of seeing Coca-Cola in something that pops to my mind. And fun enough, you mentioning The Damned. Like, I know what my one is, but I wonder if it'll be the same one as yours.
I know what you're going to say, and it's a certain comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have said Blade Runner, but you've already brought Blade Runner up. I think because it's there so much in so many movies, and it's not rammed down your throat with the product placement, I kind of don't pick up on it because it just feels natural to see it.
Yeah.
So I think Blade Runner makes a point of it because it's supposed to be like, look, it's even fucking worse in the future. Look, the advertising's everywhere. Jesus.
It's like everything has gone to crap, but hey, Coca-Cola's still the same.
And you can't avoid the adverts for it now. They're all over the place. Giant in your face. So yeah, I think other than that, maybe what you're about to say.
Yeah, I know it would just be the young ones, and I'm pretty sure it's the Halloween special, isn't it? Where the Damned feature as the guest band.
Well, if you can call it a Halloween, it's not like a normal Halloween special that you'd get in another show. It's just another weird episode of the Young Ones.
It's a slightly more horror tinged version, I think. Yeah. But yeah, basically, it's Vivian creates a formula that turns people into axe wielding homicidal maniacs. And keeps it safe by putting it in a Coke can.
No one will drink that.
Yeah. And then their landlord, Jerzy Bolowski, shows up, and it's Alexei Sale. And I just the reason it sticks in my mind so much is him because he comes in like, "Hello, boys, here for the party with the Terminal Records boys," and then he just goes like, "Oh, Coca-Cola, symbol of Free West," and then just drinks it.
I say that a lot still to this day when I'm going to take a drink of it.
Well, that's like every time I see Coca-Cola, that's kind of synonymous now in my head. It's like, symbol of Free West, because it's true. It's a symbol of the Free West. So.
It was. That's why Pepsi was so big in the Soviet Union, because it didn't have the connotation.
I see.
Even though, of course, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Really.
In many ways, too, you'd be like, it's the lesser Coke, really. But it's like, well, in many ways, the drinks are as good as each other, but Pepsi it still doesn't have that edge. It's just like,
up until last year, I would have said Pepsi's my favorite, but something's happened to my taste buds. In the last 12 months, I've been like, you know what? I think I might like Coke more now. I don't know what's going on now. Help me.
See, I don't drink it that often. I only ever have Coke a couple of times a year. So never, and then Pepsi even rarer than that. But I know it always just has that slight, like, born runner-up vibe about it, where it's like the Garfunkel of sodas, you know, where it's like, there's Paul Simon and there's the other guy. You know?
Hey, but sometimes the lesser known is better anyway. I mean, I'm always a Luigi person, not a Mario. That's
true. That's one of the things I'm hoping to. John, Luigi's Mansion 3D. I've been playing it with baby roommate Killian. People who don't listen to Batman will be baffled by that statement. But we're on King Boo at the end, and my God, it's been like days. Because he gets bored, so it's just like them, me and his dad trying to beat King Boo
together.
It's
down to you.
And then even also just been like, let's regroup, come back in a couple of days and see if we can beat because some of the other bosses are really tough. It's a great game, it's amazing, but it's just like, that King Boo, man. But now we're so close, you can't just leave it. So it's like,
no, you got to do it.
We gotta beat this guy. So,
but back in this, my only other note really is that I found the silence and pacing of this scene interesting. I thought isolating it minute by minute like this makes it seem like a fucking David Lynch shot or something. Especially with the music / ambience of it. It's very subtle and unnerving. It's sort of like...
Well, like I was saying with saying if Sergio Leone did this, we'd all say it was genius. It does have the vibe of a spaghetti western. Of people coming to meet... And all silently, the goons silently spreading out over the club, and this guy, this is the guy who introduced Dragon Sound, right? That was the
So I assume he either owns the club or he's the manager. He books the acts and things, and these guys, they're up to no good turning up because, well, number one, they're outnumbering him, and number two, one of them's smoking. Yeah,
the guy in the coke top too. He's straight edge, except the cigarettes.
That's his one vice.
Yeah. He also was like, we wanted more atmosphere, but we couldn't afford a smoke machine, so we just got that guy to smoke a load of cigarettes in the back.
Hey, some people who are straight edge are, they won't have coke.
Really?
It's caffeine. Yeah.
That was one of the things I saw in my research was they used to market coke as the temperance drink.
Yeah,
because it was for people who would not indulge in any other vices. But you tell me now, people even more hardcore than that. So
yeah, it's not it's not across the board, but there's definitely a lot of people who are edge who won't have it because it's caffeine and that's a drug and things like that.
I think you might have mentioned it in a previous episode, but because CM Punk obviously is or was straight edge.
Is
straight edge because he has the Pepsi symbol tattooed on him.
Yes,
but was there? I have some vague memory of you saying that like. He's counteracted that in some way now or something, or maybe I'm getting completely confused.
No, this does sound familiar. I can't remember what I did say, but I think maybe we were just talking about how weird it was, and because he's quite hardcore with it, I think. So maybe he doesn't have coke.
Maybe his taste buds have changed, and now he realizes he likes coke more. Like, what am I gonna do?
When he was in WWE video games, you couldn't have that tattoo. In the game because it was like, well, we'll have to pay him. So they'd put some generic sort of looks a bit like it.
Roller Cola. They should have really, just to spite him, should have put in Stewart's Cream of the Barley whiskey or something. Jack Daniels there, just plop it on. Jack Daniels, they'll pay us.
Normally I'd say, no, don't do that. That's mean, but he's been an absolute prick lately. So that might be controversial of me to say because people are torn on what happened with the big fight backstage. But I'm just going to say it's his fault. I'll keep this short because we want to obviously move on. But the only other note I've got is to consult the drinking game. I don't know if you've got anything before we do that.
No, that's me. I'm noted up.
There's not much. I am going to count this again as serious family issues. Will you allow that?
It's still part of the same sequence, so I think it carries over. Yeah, totally.
It carries over, and it's all about Jane, basically. I was going to say, she's the cause of the fight, as if it's her fault. No.
Would you count Mark's at all and his fist going up as a fist pump in some way?
I wasn't gonna. But it's up to the listener. If you want to count that as a fist pump, take a second drink. I'm going to take one. I'm going to let people on a secret, though. I had to drink coffee there because we're recording this one in the middle of the day.
Oh, wow. It was always a nice coffee because we've been recording for like an hour. Like, yeah, it's room temp stewed coffee that I've got sitting here.
No, I'm going to make you disgusted. I just kept a little bit for the purposes of drinking it at the end there.
Oh,
it wasn't pleasant, but I do it for the art. I do it for the love of the show.
I guess it would be as, rough as drinking like a really strong spirit where you'd have the same like kind of reaction.
Well, like Withnail and I, where he drinks the lighter fluid, but the director put vinegar in the can. He told him it was water, but he'd put vinegar in. So when he took a swig, that is genuine. Oh. That's genius.
Richard E. Grant was really thankful. I was like, I thought I was having a stroke when I was drinking. It's like, what the hell? I was actually very, very panicked.
I don't normally endorse doing, tricking your actors, but I think that's a harmless one that got a good outcome out of it.
Unless it turns out that he's like intensely allergic to vinegar or something.
Oh God, I hope that's not a thing. But no, that is the end of my notes for this minute.
Yep, yeah, I'm ready to roll on to minute 18.
Oh yeah, let's break the connection once again. And why don't you speak to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those. Just look us up, Miami Minutes. And head over to the Sleepy Charlie Media TeePublic, where you can buy lovely merchandise to help support the show. It just pays our fees, and it makes it sound like we've got contracts there. Yeah, it pays our fee. No, it keeps the show going, keeps the lights on, keeps things ticking. It's expensive putting these podcasts out there, more than you think. So do that, and join us again in 1 week for more Miami Minutes.
Listen to me.